His master twisted his leg until the bone cracked. The young slave did not scream. He simply looked up and said calmly, "If you keep doing that, you will break it." The leg snapped, and still no scream, just one quiet sentence. "There, I told you it would break." Think about that for a moment. A man in agony, owned by another, with no rights, no freedom, no future he could control. And yet something inside him could not be touched. Not by pain, not by cruelty, not by the worst the world could do. You have felt the opposite. The night a single message kept you awake, the job that slipped away, the person who walked out the door, the sense that life was happening to you and you were powerless to stop it. So here's the question that should keep you watching. How did a crippled slave become free in the one way that actually matters, while millions of free people stay prisoners their entire lives? The answer is a 4-step code, and once you understand it, you can never see your own suffering the same way again. His name was Epictetus, and he was not born into philosophy, he was born into chains. Rome, the 1st century after Christ. A boy is sold into slavery before he is old enough to understand what slavery means. He has no family name. In fact, the word Epictetus is not even a name. It simply means acquired, property, a thing that was bought. His owner was a man named Epictetus, a wealthy administrator in the court of the Emperor Nero. And from that crippled leg we spoke of, we know the boy's early life was filled with pain that most of us will never imagine. But here is what almost no one realizes about that story. While he was a slave, Epictetus was allowed to do one strange thing. He was permitted to study philosophy under a teacher named Musonius Rufus. And in those lessons, something began to shift inside the young man. Not his circumstances. His circumstances were still brutal. What shifted was the place he was standing inside his own mind. Because one day, sitting in that classroom, still a slave, still owned, still in pain, he asked himself a question that would echo for 2,000 years. What, in this entire world, actually belongs to me? My body? No. It could be beaten, chained, broken on command. My possessions? No. He owned nothing. He was owned. My reputation, my future, the way others treated him. No, no, and no. All of it could be taken in an instant. And then he saw it. The one thing no master could ever reach. The one territory that was his, completely, no matter what happened to his body. His judgments, his responses, the meaning he chose to give to what happened to him. That was the seed of everything. But the seed was not yet the system, because there was a moment coming in his life where this idea would be tested in the most extreme way possible. A moment where he would either prove this philosophy was real or watch it shatter like that broken leg. Let me show you what he was truly up against, because it is easy to hear the word slave and let it stay abstract. So make it real. Imagine waking every morning and your first thought is not what will I do today, but what will be done to me today. Imagine having no say over where you sleep, what you eat, whether you live or die. Imagine that the very person who controls your fate can change his mood, and your entire world tips into suffering, and there is nothing you can do about it. Now notice something uncomfortable. Notice how close that feels to a quieter version of your own life. You are not a slave, but how many of your days are ruled by things outside your control? The traffic that decides your mood, the comment that ruins your afternoon, the email you keep refreshing, waiting for someone else's decision to tell you whether you are allowed to feel okay. You have handed the keys to your inner life to 100 different masters, and most of them do not even know they hold them. This is the trap Epictetus understood from the inside. He saw that suffering has 2 layers. There is the thing that happens, and then there is the story we tell ourselves about the thing that happens. The broken leg was real, but the despair, the rage, the sense of being a victim, those were not in the leg. They were in the mind. And the mind, he realized, was the one place he was still the master. So he drew a line down the center of all human experience. On one side, the things up to us, our opinions, our intentions, our desires, our reactions. On the other side, everything else, our body, our property, our reputation, what other people do. He called this the fundamental division, and he said something radical. He said, nearly all human misery comes from one mistake, repeated endlessly. We try to control what is on the wrong side of the line, and we neglect the one thing that was ours all along. But knowing a truth and living it are two different things. And the universe was about to ask Epictetus to live it. Here is where the story turns. Eventually, Epictetus was freed. He had survived slavery, mastered philosophy, and become a respected teacher in Rome. For the first time, he had a life, a home, students, standing, the very things he had never been allowed to want. And then the emperor took it all away. The Emperor Domitian, paranoid and threatened by thinkers who taught people to value their inner freedom over the power of the state, banished every philosopher from Rome. In a single decree, Epictetus lost his home, his livelihood, his city, his entire built life. Once again, a force far bigger than him reached down and stripped everything away. And this is the moment. This is the test. Because a lesser man would have said, "You see, I tried. I believed in something. And the world took it anyway. What was the point?" But Epictetus did not break. Watch what he did instead. He packed his life, walked out of Rome, traveled to a town in Greece called Nicopolis, and there he opened a school. And it became one of the most famous schools of philosophy in the entire ancient world. People traveled across the empire to sit on the floor and listen to him. He had been enslaved, crippled, and exiled, and he was, by his own account, untouchable, not because nothing bad happened to him, things kept happening, but because he had built something no emperor could banish. This is the 4-step code, the actual mechanism underneath the story. Step 1, pause. In the gap between what happens and how you respond, there is a space. Most people never find it. They react instantly, automatically. Epictetus learned to stop right there, in the half second before the reaction. Step 2, divide. In that pause, ask the only question that matters. Is this up to me or not? Sort it. Ruthlessly. The exile, the broken leg, the lost job, the cruel words, those are not up to you. Your response to them is. Step 3, accept what is not yours. He had a phrase for this. He said, do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. Stop fighting the part of reality you cannot change. That fight is the suffering. Step 4, act on what is yours. Pour every ounce of your energy into the one territory that is actually yours. Your character, your choices, your next action. That is where your power was hiding the entire time. And here is the part that should give you chills. Modern psychology, nearly 2,000 years later, is just now catching up. The entire foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most scientifically validated treatments for anxiety and depression we have ever created, rests on a single idea, that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about events. The founder of that therapy, Albert Ellis, directly credited Epictetus. A crippled slave designed the blueprint, and the laboratories confirmed it. So, let us return to the question we opened with. How did a slave become more free than the emperor who exiled him? Now you know. The emperor controlled cities, armies, the lives of millions, but he could not control his own fear. He was a slave to his paranoia, ruled by a mind he never learned to govern, and the actual slave, the man in chains, had become the one truly free person because he had conquered the only kingdom that was ever his. Now make this yours tonight. Here is the practice. When something hits you today, the rude reply, the bad news, the plan that falls apart, do this. First, pause and name it out loud, even silently. Say, this happened, just the fact, stripped of the story. Then ask the dividing question. Is this up to me? If it is not, say the hardest and most freeing words in all of philosophy. This is not mine to control. And then immediately turn to what is. Ask, what is the one thing here that is mine? And do that thing. Small, concrete, now. That is it. That is the entire code that turned a broken slave into one of the freest men who ever lived. Do it once, and it is an idea. Do it for 30 days, and it becomes who you are. Here is the truth you came for. You will never control what happens to you. You were never supposed to. Your power was always in the response, waiting in that quiet space the slave discovered while his master broke his leg. The world will keep doing what it does. The only question left is what you will do with the one thing that is yours. If this stirred something in you, stay, subscribe, and walk this path with us, because the next idea may be the one that sets you free.